how now, there's a lot of different ways it can be done. You could be looking for loop parallels, for example, and so how is that done?
Okay, so we are not automatically converting a
I understand that, but you have to annotate it in some way. You use this domain-specific language.
Right.
How is it different from, say, OpenMP, which is the same sort of thing? You have to put comments in your code saying how it's.
Yes. So one approach is you're asking for how you're separating, right? So one approach, like we have a small language, like for Fortran we have a small language by through which, like it's an aspect like language, you specify that you want to remove this code with this code and put it in a separate place. Like an aspect language. So instead of, because the whole point is we don't want to modify the original source code, we want to keep that as it is, like sequential code as it is. But we still like to have a parallel version of that program. So we write in a language, like using like an aspect language.
Yeah, so this other language sits off on the side, and it basically takes your original sequential program as an argument, and it's pulling pieces of it out and doing something.
Right.
Okay. But in terms of the ideas in it, how does that compare with others? So, for example, OpenMP, it's always it's not always, but originally it was loops. You basically take loops and say, let's run this loop in parallel. And so that would be one thing you could do. Now, we also have more of fork join type of thing where you're saying, let's run this piece of code in, that piece of code in,
right.
and you parallel and wait until you're done. So I mean, there's these various patterns that people use, and often a particular library just supports one of them.
Right.
But how do you support several of them? Is it is this something that's flexible enough that you can keep adding new ones to it?
Okay, so right now we are supporting CUDA, MPI, and OpenMP. Like when I say we are supporting means there is a template generation associated with it. Like for example, you have what effectively I am saying is I have a section of code. Forget about parallels, but I have a section of code, and I want to put that into a function. And maybe I will, at the runtime, I will decide what implementation I have to use inside that. So I can only use